Share this video. I got a message earlier from one of the gods about a video I made yesterday, and he wanted me to provide a little bit more clarity, which I understand, because sometimes I'm just channeling, bro. I'm just speaking through the frequency. I'm just channeling the universe, allowing God to express itself through me. I'm not concerned about pronunciation, what y'all might perceive me as. I don't care about none of that shit. So sometimes I just might be speaking and I might misspeak or mispronounce a word, or I might usurp one word for another and put it in place of a word which really doesn't make sense towards what I meant. So I'm just here to provide clarity for the brother as well. So please share this video and hopefully it could get to him. So what I did was a video about how parasites are demons, right? And so it might have caused some type of confusion for him, because he texted me and he's like, yo, bro, so what are you saying, that because I like sex, I have a parasite? And I'm like, to a degree, not necessarily. That's not what I meant. So just to provide that clarity, what I meant was, if you have a over-sexualized perception of sex, if you have unrealistic desires for sex, if you're always masturbating, watching porn, if you're imbalanced, then that could be a parasite. The imbalance itself could be the parasitic entity, that energy that I was discussing. You dig what I'm saying? And so for men, like, you don't need to be jacking off, bro. Like, what are you doing? Don't you have a woman? You can exercise that through her. Don't you have other women? I mean, aren't you a polygamous man? Are you in your natural state? Like, who are you? What are you doing? And anyway, you were taught to be a demasculated version of yourself. Now, overmasculation, that's imbalance. But a demasculated man, that's imbalance. Now, as a woman, what you should look for in your man is not only intelligence, not only good looks, not only loyalty and stuff like that, but you should look for your man to be genetically superior in a way. Like, you should look at your man and see your kids through your man, in a sense. Like, you feel me? Like, your man is your kids. Like, that's what you're reproducing. That's what you're right. Like a new and improved, better version of both of you guys together, because obviously the chromosomes are split in half. They come from us both. Although I believe that the mother obviously is like the cradle of civilization, because she has to hold that creation and allow it to come forth. So I feel like her aspect in creation is more godly than the male. That's just my personal opinion, my perception. It ain't for me to convince you of that. No fat. I don't know what that means. I've heard that before. No flat. No flat. Yeah, heard. Hey man, I was just thinking about that today. Yeah, and the way I look at it is like discipline. That's what you should see in your man. That's what you should want in your man. Because although a man's nature is to be polygamous, a man should be with multiple women, not any women, and not multiple women for sex. We have to understand what polygamy is. So, some of your wives are not for the reproduction of your children. Some of your wives are here to provide you with a service that some of your other wives aren't able to provide you. It's not necessarily about sex and about reproducing and procreation. Like, we have to get that out of our mind. Not to say that it's not about that, but polygamy is business, really. Polygamy is about nation building, a family. You think what I'm saying? Like, if you have 10 wives, you might not want children with all of those wives, but you might need certain things from each one of those wives. So it's all about your relationship and your perception. But in my opinion, obviously,
as housewives, but they're contributing to that.
Exactly, to that nation, to that relationship. Because that's what I look at it like. A relationship is business as well. Like, and not to sound like a shrewd businessman or anything like that. Not to take the emotion out of it. But I'm just saying, like, this is reality. Like, we grown. Like, obviously, you have to deal with people that are on your frequency, on your level. So if you with a woman that's imbalanced, then you probably going to be imbalanced. So if there's sexual imbalance, then you might be masturbating to a point where it's like a parasitic entity that has hijacked you in that way, that you feel that you have to overly express yourself sexually, when really, if you were just living in your natural state, you would have the opportunity to do that and there would be no imbalance. You see what I'm saying?
Tell them, when you get horny, you should channel that energy to your mind to make it's creative energy. You need to bring that blood from here up, like to your brain.
That's real. Creative energy, that's sexual energy. That sexual energy, when you harness it, you can utilize it for creative energy. Whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you take pride in, whatever your hobbies are. Like, you don't always have to have that orgasmic release sexually. You can utilize that energy and express that in other different ways and stuff like that. But just to be clear, like what I was trying to say is not that you have a parasite if you love sex. No, we do love sex. But if we love and we beseech sex in an unhealthy way from people who are not healthy from us, then that's a parasite is what I'm trying to say. And I'm trying to convey, because it might not be you, but it might be somebody you know suffering from some shit. Like, yo, I can't, like this bitch got a fat ass, but this bitch is unhealthy for you and she puts you through all type of shit, but you keep allowing that situation to control you, to govern you, because the flesh is weak. So that's parasitic in nature, which is kind of what I meant. But I'm gonna play this clip for y'all so I can show you what I was, the information that I was trying to relay in that message, in that video, and I'm gonna let you get your opinion from it. I'm gonna bring it to a close. It was just brief, just to provide a bit more clarity for my brother, because that at the end of the day, that's what he is. He's my brother. We the gods of the planet Earth. So if I misspeak or if I say something out of line, I don't mind. I don't owe nobody an explanation, but I don't mind saying what I meant to say, because I'm saying it publicly, so I don't have anything to hide. You feel me? So yes, having a over sexualized desire for sex can be parasitic in nature, but that does not mean that you are that you have a parasite if you love sex. No. But now let's talk about the people we have sex with and the kind of sex we have with these people. Now that's where we begin to talk about these things. So I'm gonna play this for y'all. Right. If you married, right, you got 5 kids, right? And you have a woman, right? And you have a ring and you wear a tie and you look good, but you go to the brothel and pay for some tight young pussy and you cheat on your wife that way, then nigga, you parasitic in nature, because you unbalanced. Because you don't realize, nigga, you're supposed to have more wives. For when that imbalance is happening, you don't have to go to a brothel and cheat and sneak behind your wife that you truly love. Because you're not doing that because you don't love her. You're doing that because you're living in an unnatural state and you have no divine knowledge of self.
And they're not your thoughts.
Facts. And I'm here to enlighten you, and they're not your thoughts. That's crazy. They're the parasites' thoughts. They have hijacked your thoughts. Sex is for nation building, to bring forth more divine beings for manifestation. Simple pimple. I like the way you put that there. Now that has to get pinned in there. You dig? Oh no, not report, pin, motherfucker. Yeah, because that's basically it. You know what I'm saying? But let me play this video really quick though for y'all.
Right. This is a subject that I haven't seen much info on. Is it possible that there's a link between demonic entities and the negative parasitic beings that live in our bodies?
How do you flip?
Really intriguing connections that we think deserve to be explored. Many of you, even those who actually like this channel, will likely be dismissive of this information or label this as pseudoscience.
Peace.
Truly curious and ambitious, though, will undoubtedly see the value in the message and personal stories shared with this presentation. When we talk about demons, what are we talking about? Evil spiritual entities? Or are they just a figment of our imagination? Well, I would say they are very real, and not only are they spiritual beings, but they can manifest into this world in many ways, and one of those ways is through parasitic organisms. Let's start with, what are the common symptoms of demon possession? 1. They have the power to influence your mind and to fill it with destructive thoughts.
They have the power to fill your mind with destructive thoughts. They hijack your thoughts, like the God just said. Those ain't even your thoughts. You've been given a culture, a way of thinking, a subculture to express your energy through. You dig what I'm saying? You're not a comedian, a rapper, none of that shit. You Tarzan in the jungle, nigga. You belong in nature. In nature, you are God. Simple. Even Marilyn Manson said it. Not to quote him per se, but he even said it, like, the black man was God in the jungles. You took him out the jungles and made him man. That's what these parasites do. They hijack your thoughts. They make you live out a culture that's not yours, that's not natural, that goes against what is cipher, God.
2. They can have an influence on the dream realm, manifesting as shadow beings during sleep paralysis. 3.
Self-explanatory.
Possession usually involves becoming sick and constantly tired.
Fatigue,
4.
sick,
Your spiritual
tired.
powers and ambition begin to diminish.
Your spiritual powers and ambition begin to diminish. You see, this is why a lot of people relate being woke or conscious or, you know, socially aware, whatever you want to call it. Like, I just like to call it God. Once you know what this is, what you are, you God. You God in human form. In this limited human form, of course. But a lot of people say that it's depressing to be woke in a sense. But really, that's a parasitic nature. That is a parasite trying to diminish your attunement, trying to take away your spiritual ambition, trying to take away the communication and the connection that you have with the all, with the ancestors. They want to keep you from that and keep you vibrating on a mere mortal level. These parasites want to do that because these parasites thrive in a deaf environment, just like demons. Where you find demons is where death is prevalent.
5. Material and egotistical desires that end up driving the person possessed and mad.
Yeah.
And that's just the start. I'm sure it could go on, but I want you to think about the connection between demons and the infestation of parasites in the body. Now, before I continue, I just want to say that I'm sure there are specific cases of demon possession that go into its own, like the foaming from the mouth, the deep evil voices, or that's not what I'm talking about.
Hell yeah.
While it is possible that there could be some cases where that happens, it's mostly a Hollywood dramatization in order to separate demon possession from disease. What we're about to cover is really deep, but hang on and channel that inner light. There's no reason to be afraid. I'm basically implying that we are always possessed by multiple different demons to one degree or another. This is also connected to the other video that we've made on the Nephilim and Archons, but this has more to do with our modern lifestyles and what we digest, physically and mentally.
Physically and mentally, gods. What we digest physically and mentally. It don't matter if you're vegan. Like I said, the Nation of Islam, they eat goat, they eat lamb, they eat beef, they eat chicken, they eat fish. But they eat once a day. They follow the diet designed by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? They eat once a day. They eat to live. So they don't even get sick. They suppress the amount of parasites that they allow to thrive within them. So it's not about being vegan. Not to say that I'm not vegan. Not to say that I don't want to eat up the earth. This is not about you being vegan per se. If you're not vegan, even if you are vegan, you could still be full of parasites because of the environment created for them to thrive. Vegan diets consist of those things in a high quantity, especially if you're unconsciously vegan. If you're just vegan and not eating animals, but you eating tofu and tempeh and all these artificial ingredients, they create that type of environment. I'm gonna let this play out.
Humans are not aware of how many parasites they really have. I'll throw myself on that boat. For most of my life growing up, I thought that was something that only happened in third world countries. Boy, was I wrong. I think most Americans share this silly way of thinking, not knowing that almost all of our eating habits result in parasitic beings finding a home in the waste that fills our body. If you eat meat, let me just let you know you are filled with parasites. Not only are high protein diets extremely acidic, but the body doesn't know what to do with all this excess protein. What ends up happening is our sewage system gets backed up. Also, most of us are completely enzyme deficient, and there's no way that our bodies can actually digest this meat. So you know what happens? It literally stays in your body and rots. If only you knew what your colon really looked like inside. Oh, but you're vegan.
Pay attention right here.
Think again. Most vegans consume an extreme amount of protein in order to compensate for not eating meat. Most of them cook all of their foods. Again, enzyme deficient, and top that with genetic deficiencies, we end up having issues removing toxins from our body. All of this cooked food is dead, and your body has no idea what to do with all its toxicity. The only way to protect itself is by forming mucus. This mucus is what's saving your body. What tends to happen is this hardens and stays in our body for a very long time. That's the point I'm trying to drive home. If you eat 3 times a day, you're cooking your foods, and you're not taking extra measures to cleanse your body, then you are most likely infested with parasites, meat or no meat. Most of you are probably saying to yourself, or in the comment section, well, I feel fine, I'm doing great. Yeah, okay, that's what you think. Or is that what the parasites are thinking for you? I think most of us can't imagine the amount of energy that we could have if we remove these parasites from the body. It's not just that, most people don't even realize that their thoughts are not even their own. This also explains why it's so difficult to silence the mind.
It's not really that crazy to think that if there is something inside of us that wanted to thrive, like a parasite, that they could influence their host to make decisions that create a more hospitable environment for their kind. These microbial organisms absolutely have the ability to steer the thoughts, emotions, and actions of their host. Sounds an awful lot like possession to me. When you get cravings for unhealthy foods, that isn't you. It's the parasites. Fast on juices for a week and you'll see what I'm talking about. You won't be able to think straight at first, just like a drug withdrawal.
First time hearing it, then I would take it slow. Research real people who've succeeded with fasting. Starting a detox too fast will shock your system. And when these parasites start dying, it's gonna make you very sick. Let me just put it this way. You have beings inside of you that just sit and demand what to eat. They feast all day long, and then they poop inside of you all day and night. You still don't see the connection? Then let me make it very clear. Parasites have the ability to affect your mind, as your kidneys will be overworking, and eventually, you're not filtering out your blood so that you become more and more toxic to the point where most of your endocrine system fails to operate as it should. You might say, well, my blood tests show up fine. Yeah, I wouldn't rely on that. One of the most important functions of the body is to keep the blood alkaline. All this toxicity and waste is being removed by the lymphatic system. We'll only see problems in the blood once it becomes very serious. That goes back to people thinking they're just...
Listen. Signs your lymphatic system is backed up. What is your lymphatic system? What helps you get rid of and release toxins. You smell it. That's where your aura comes from. When you smell somebody, you can smell how toxified they are. You can smell how much toxins they have in them. Do they have a little? Do they have a lot? This is why most people can't even stand their own smell, because they're full of toxins. So now here we go. Signs of your lymphatic system being backed up is headaches, brain fog, swollen lymph nodes, lack of energy, right? Current sore throat, mucus in the morning, mucus drainage, fluid back up in the ear, ears popping, constipation, unable to lose weight, soreness, bloating, arms or hands fall asleep while sleeping, pain, pressure, stiffness, along with a whole bunch of other things that are really side effects from these parasites living within us.
Well, we usually don't become aware of disease in our body until it manifests as a serious issue. Most people don't consider that maybe most of their tiny symptoms like tiredness, headaches, bad odor, depression, itchiness are the first signs that something isn't right. What do most people do? They go to the doctor and get these symptoms suppressed with what they assume will be a quick fix. Give you the impression that everything is okay. If you were trying to tell me this stuff a year ago, I wouldn't buy it. I'm one of those people who literally never get sick. I'm always very positive, so I just attributed it to that maybe my immune system was strong, but I was wrong. I've had symptoms my whole life, and I have never had the eyes and awareness to realize that it wasn't
Wow.
I was in denial. So don't get scared. But there is a truth to this that I know many are not ready for, because what this all has to do with is a complete change in how we live our lives and perceive reality.
Period.
And I realize change is scary to most of us. I understand that we can't all be Buddha. I know that might sound strange, but if you're on a computer, then technically you're sitting. But that's the thing, we all have to balance. We can't just completely remove ourselves from society. We can take it step by step. And maybe one day, a change will take place in this realm. This video is not a solution video, but more of a discussion. A challenge to question everything we know about every facet of life. If we can accept that we have parasites, we can start to see why this would be connected to demons. Parasites are beings of death. They thrive off of death and rotting. They too can have an influence on your dreams. Here's an example. One evening, I went to bed feeling pretty good until I woke up from a very strange dream. In the dream, there were these white spiders inside of my body coming out of my mouth. They were white fuzzy spiders. I woke up and I felt absolutely horrible. My throat hurt extremely bad. I go to look in the mirror, open my mouth, and all I could see were these white fuzzy dots on the back of my throat. I had strep, and I swear that I had no feeling of a sore throat before going to bed, so it had nothing to do with like my subconscious picking up small details or something. No, this was a dream about parasites in my body right before I got sick. Luckily, I recovered in one day from drinking apple cider and eating plenty of fruits.
When I was young, I was diagnosed with ADD and then schizophrenia, though my mother debated it with the doctor until the schizophrenia was downgraded to tinnitus. So they put me on Ritalin, but it didn't help.
This is a subject that I haven't seen much.
At the end of the day, that's pretty much it. Like, I cut it off, but y'all get it. All these pills are suppressing the symptoms.
They then prescribed even more medicine for it. It was a vicious cycle. On top of it all, I was always hearing these nasty voices in my head. It sounded like static from a radio or manifested in my own voice. telling me that I was worthless and life was pointless. Well, why not just do whatever? I think a common misconception is that freedom of being an adult is getting to drink booze and eat as much pizza and ice cream as you want, but I have to disagree. Those are drugs pushed on us as kids, and when we become adults, we think that we're choosing to eat those things, but all that's really happening is we're becoming slaves to our cravings. Much like a thrall is a slave to a demon. It's exactly like drug addiction. It's called the Food and Drug Administration for a reason. Why would food and drugs be lumped together if they didn't serve the same purpose? Alcohol is even called spirits. When someone has an addiction problem, they call it demons. It's also common knowledge that addiction is a disease. Though if addiction is a disease as well as a demon, then what makes any other disease not a form of demon? Typically, parasites are these long, worm-like things or fibrous beings that inhabit our guts, and they resemble antennae or fiber optics. Begs the question, if parasites can influence our thoughts, and they can influence our dreams, and they can influence our desires, then could it be possible that parasites are antennae for demonic entities to manifest in the body? Para, prefix. A prefix with many meanings, including alongside of, beside, near, resembling, beyond, apart from, and abnormal. Site, an area of ground in which a town, building, or monument is constructed. So if we imagine our bodies as temples, this word begins to make a lot of sense. Something that is inside your body that shouldn't be. Almost all religions attribute worms and parasites as being evil or the work of Satan. Is it influenza? Or is it the influence of demonic entities? The word influenza even sounds like influence. So what do people say when you sneeze? They bless you. Why would they do that? However, I expect that the perpetuation of that idea is to cause confusion and mistrust in all things spiritual.
Even schizophrenia, where many people see and hear evil voices from all around, could be caused by a disharmony of the body and an infestation of parasites. From science data, quote, recent studies have found evidence of worrisome impacts, including an association with schizophrenia because of the parasite T. gondii. It's found in the brain as well in the muscles. In addition, field and laboratory studies in mice, rats, and people have shown that infection with T. gondii triggers change in behavior and personality.
Wow.
Here's a study that goes over this same exact thing. A growing body of evidence suggests a correlation between schizophrenia and exposure to infectious agents. The majority of studied cases concerns the infection caused by T. gondii, an obligatory intracellular parasite that infects about 1/3 of the entire human population, according to the available data. Quote, numerous epidemiological case control studies show a higher prevalence of T. gondii infestation in individuals with various psychiatric and behavior disorders, including schizophrenia. A lot of these studies are just focusing on one parasite alone, but really, they have no clue what's actually going on in the body. You have parasites in your brain, in your heart. It destroys what you have left of the good bacteria, just making it easier for the parasites to thrive. The only way to get rid of them is through awareness and diet. This video is not about that, in time. For the most part, the goal of this video is to connect two different subjects that normally aren't associated with each other. For many, spiritual realities are very hard to understand and to experience. Most humans have completely lost the sense of feeling within their body. An animal knows when they eat something that they're not supposed to, and then they'll never eat it again. Not humans though. We just stuff ourselves all day long with mostly indigestible foods that just sit in our body and rot, while our body overworks and tires itself trying to get rid of all this waste that never ends.
Saddens me.
The breath, ego. For this too is controlled by parasites. Just 5 minutes of relaxation can completely restart your system.
Heard you. That's it, man. I hope that provided some type of clarity. Minutes of just meditation. Sit with yourself for 5 minutes. That could rebalance you. That's it. That's all I wanted to share with the God. Like, I don't want to cause confusion. I want you to understand that you're not sick because you love sex. What kind of sex are you having? Who are you having sex with? And that could possibly be just part of your program. That might be somebody who you have to learn to deal without. Somebody, you might have thought that was the one, and yeah, it was the one you had to learn to get over, the one you had to learn to do without, not the one that you had to spend the rest of your life with. You know what I'm saying? So you have to figure what that is out for you, for us, and we brothers. At the end of the day, I don't owe nobody an explanation, but you deserve an explanation just so I can provide you with some clarity, because God provides clarity. The devil works with confusion, so I'm not trying to confuse anyone. I'm not a fearmonger. I'm not trying to make anyone afraid. We are gods. All this information is regularly available on the internet. Do your own research. But whatever conclusions you do come to, I just pray that they are in alignment with the Most High. So peace to the gods, peace to the goddesses. Share this video. Now we not in the tropics yet. Mentally we are. We will be migrating soon. We'll be vibrating there soon. But we're just gathering our resources and, you know what I mean, using this, using the journey that we did embark on, using this experience that we've gained as a stepping stool to set up shop, as a base of operation, and then move from there, just to build a stronger foundation. At the end of the day, that's what we're here to do. We're here to grow. We're here to learn. We're here to become better versions of ourselves. I'm not here competing with nobody. So peace to the gods, peace to the goddesses. Definitely 5 times a day. That's beautiful. That's discipline, brother. So, you know, at the end of the day, you have no choice, yo. You are the chosen. Peace.